service. Now I'll give you my backhand. My winner whizzes down the line. Betting weekly tennis live. Are you ready for it? Here we go.
What's up? What's up? We are live again, Betting Weekly Tennis Live, all on the Bet Rivers Network. Download the app, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow the socials because we win. We are in the final week before Wimbledon, the final tune-ups on the grass before the action commences from the All England Club. Action all across Europe. Bad Hamburg and Eastbourne for the ladies, Eastbourne and Mallorca for the men. Mitch Michals hosting the show alongside gambling expert extraordinaire and worldwide traveler, Nigel Seeley. Welcome to the show.
Well, good luck. I'm keeping my eyes open with matchsticks at the moment. So I'm absolutely shattered. At 4 o'clock this morning, I was woken up to walk down the stairs of doom. Anyone's been to the Amalfi Coast, you have to go up all these stairs. There's beautiful scenic views when you go up the stairs. But what you don't actually realise when you have to walk down the stairs with the luggage at 6 o'clock in the morning when no one can help you, they're not so glamorous. So absolutely shattered day. But anyway, I've come back, got involved in the tennis straight away, looking ahead to these matches. And I'm more excited about the women's matches, actually, Mitch, than the men's. Men's a bit boring, really. Women's have got quite excited about it.
Yeah, tomorrow's slate might not be the strongest for the men. We do have some live action to get to as well, and we've got some matches coming up today still. Andreeva, Tauson, and the first meeting between Taylor Fritz and Joao Fonseca. But with a lot of women's matches are, as you mentioned, exciting tomorrow. We have one kind of interesting live match right now. I should say that because, unfortunately, it was great. Bernie Tomic won a main draw match, but Roberto Bautista Agut having his way right now in that one in Mallorca. But in Eastbourne, Tommy Paul has break point in the second set, down a set versus Dan Evans. As it stands right now, Evans is minus 106 to win. Paul just got the break, so they're changed 5-3 now. He'll serve for the set. Minus 220, Tommy Paul, plus 148, Dan Evans. Nigel, we were talking before, you kind of fancy Evans in this one, but Paul with the break now, serving. And yeah, Evans is not a fighter, so he'll stay in this one.
It just shows you how quickly tennis changes. I told you 5 minutes ago, I thought Dan Evans before the show was a bet in this match, and now he's obviously a breakdown. He's got to find something. The one thing that we really do, I mean, Tommy Paul in this tournament in Eastbourne, he's played a lot of 3-set matches, and Dan Evans is obviously a fighter. I mean, I'm looking at the total here, 28.5 in play. It's only minus 143 though, so it's quite a low line to take on the over 28.5. But I think this match could go into a long third set here. If you're a Dan Evans better, you want him to win his straight. You want him to close out straight sets, don't you? You know, now the seeded number 2 seed has got back into the match. It's not very good if you're a Dan Evans better. You want it to be done straight away 2-0. The problem with Dan Evans has always come to sort of the end of his career. Hasn't really played a lot of matches. He likes the big occasion, but I think going into the third set, the odds reflect the prices here. Minus 225 is probably the probability of Tommy Paul winning this match, which is close to sort of a 60. What's about 68% chance he's going to win this match. That's probably about right. But I'm looking at the overs. 28.5 games. I might bet the overs here in play.
Yeah, you're looking at overs for set 3, over 9.5 games. I mean, that's one of the angles that we look at on this show, right? Is how long you think these sets are going to be. 9.5 set number, minus 143 over, minus 103 under.
That on grass, that sounds like a home-based player who's got a, he's obviously got no aspirations of doing well at Wimbledon. Winning a couple of rounds is great for him. So over 9.5 games in set number 3, that does sound appealing, really. Tommy Paul, obviously a player I think he's won this tournament. No, he won Queens, didn't he? He won Queens. But he's done well in this tournament. I think got to the final. He played Surundalo a couple of years ago in the final here. I was at the match. And he's got a good record here. So I think over 9.5 games, set 3 definitely is I want to play here.
You're looking at like in Paul as a point away set point, but Evans will serve first, so that might entice that bet a little bit too. If you think Paul's still going to find a way to just get one break, maybe it's later in the set. So that's an interesting one there. Andreeva Tauson coming up. I did want to mention that because
interesting,
right? Like Clara Tauson, who you've been talking about, has been hot and cold at times. Andreeva as well, kind of cooled off, and not that she's playing poorly, but we know given where her game was and what she's accomplished, Nigel, that there's a lot of heaped expectations on her. But we look at it from a betting angle, right? Andreeva coming in a pretty solid favorite against someone who she played in a premier final and gave her a pretty tough match. So I don't know. I think this.
Well,
could
I'm watching this match now. They're just about to start, but I don't know if you noticed, if you've seen the TV, there's a huge amount of like flies all around. Like there's like a wasps, or there's like some flies or hornets or something all around Andreeva where she's serving. So that might be a little bit of a problem for these players going into it. It looks extremely hot. The one thing I would say about both these players is both of them, the grass court game is atrocious. I mean, they are way up there in the world rankings in terms of their ability, but their grass court game is not really the high attributes that they should be. Andreeva's grass court season this season has been an absolute disaster. She hasn't won a match. Yeah. She's only played one. She got beat by she won this match here, obviously against well, she hasn't won a match. It's Tauson who won the match against Freck, and obviously Freck beat Andreeva. So that's a form line in itself. You've got Tauson who beat Freck in the first round here, and Freck beat Andreeva in Berlin. So that is a little bit of a guide. The head-to-head record is so overwhelming in Andreeva's favour. Yeah. She's leading 3-0 now. But I think this is a real tricky match. I wouldn't trust either of them on grass. For that reason, I'll be looking at the over 21.5 at -121. I can see a lot of breaks. I can see both players getting a bit frustrated, especially in terms of the flies and the weather. I think it's a good match for them both before Wimbledon, a little bit of a prep. I think over 21.5 games here is the way to go at -120 with Bet Rivers.
Little transitive property there, right? So one person beat the other who beat the other, so we can maybe say that. But when they played in that final in Dubai, it was 7-6, 6-1 for Andreeva. So one set pretty tight. The second was not. So we'll see. That game spread is 2.5 right now.
But then they played in Rome, and it was Tauson won the first set 7-5 in probably in Andreeva's conditions, and it was 6-3, 6-2. So there was a long match in the last match as well. So 21.5 on grass. I think it's a great warm-up match. This would be like a sort of a pre-season NFL match or pre-season football match that both players want a little bit of competition, want a little bit of an edge, and go through it, put their game into some shape going into Wimbledon. So I like 21.5 games here, over 21.5. I like the over 9.5 in set one as well.
Could be a tie-breaking situation too. They played a lot of physical sets there. So we'll see with that one. We mentioned too, the women's action tomorrow. There's some intriguing one. Bad Hamburg is a 500 level event week before Wimbledon. So some star power out in that one. We've got two big matchups here. An All-American affair on the bottom. Jessie Pegula taking on Emma Navarro. There you see Pegula -175 favorite to Navarro +140. Navarro being tested along the way to get to this point. And you have Iga Swiatek -167 against Ekaterina Alexandrova. There you see the spread over under as well. Nigel, after a little bit of a testy one, I'll say a little bit against Azarenka, but Iga pulls through. That number jumped out to me, and I want your analysis on that ladder match first, right? Iga -167 against the big serving Alexandrova. What do you think about how that's priced and where your head's at?
Well, every part of my body wants to oppose Alexandrova because she hurt me so bad a couple of weeks ago. There's 11 match points against Mertens, and I can't get out of my head. But I think she's the player in this draw who could go on and win the tournament. I think she ticks a lot of boxes. And the fact that she's played Swiatek twice before, 5 times they met, she's beaten her twice before. And she's beaten her in the 2 times where there's quick conditions. In Miami in 2024, she beat her very, very easy, 6-4, 6-2, the last time they met. And she beat her in Melbourne in a sort of a pre-sort of tournament event. But it was in quick conditions. She won 6-4, 6-2. So the quicker it is, the more chance she has. They played at altitude in Madrid in 2023. She pushed her really close, 6-3. And the only time they've met in really slow conditions was in Doha. Doha was a lot slower hardcore than in Dubai. And Swiatek, unsurprisingly, he won that match. So I think this is a great opportunity for Alexandrova to win this match, because I'm not convinced that Swiatek wants to go too deep in this tournament. Alexandrova would fancy her chances. She's only lost 1 match out of 6 matches this year on grass, and that was in that match where she had 11 match points. So the only match you lost, you lost
Yeah.
11 match points. I put on social media, I'm never betting her again. I'm never betting again. And that was my reaction straight after a bad beat. But really, I think, if someone offered me a free bet here, I'm gonna bet Alexandrova. I think she's but Bet Rivers are quite cautious at the plus 133. I think they are. I think that's quite a cautious price. But Iga Swiatek on grass really isn't a player that I want to bet. I mean, she's won 19 matches on grass compared to 8. She's had one good run at Wimbledon, which was in 2023. But I mean, other than that, quarterfinalist. But Alexandrova in quick conditions, the weather's going to be good as well.
Yeah,
it's a perfect matchup for the Russian.
Can she get to the finish line though? That's the question. She wasn't able to before, and so I don't know if there's value in betting her in a way that isn't to win a match. Only, I mean, it's pretty priced heavily. To win one set is minus 195 for her, and you've got options on different various bets. But Iga on grass is a real thing. The Azarenka match looked okay, but as competition steps up, especially in this tournament, I don't know. I just it's dangling.
Plus 2.5 on the handicap. Plus 2.5 games and Andy. I mean, if she's going to get tight, she's going to get tight in a tight third set.
Yeah.
I mean, plus 2.5 Alexandrova. I said I'd never bet her on the money line, but I might bet her at plus 2.5 on the handicap and hope she wins. But I think Alexandra can go really deep in this tournament. I really do. Yeah. I was so disappointed, and when you lose a bad beat, you get on social media. Oh, I'm never going to bet her again. But I think she's a player that could win this tournament here, and I don't think she's got anything to fear against Swiatek in quick conditions when she's beaten her twice before in quick conditions.
We've also got, as I mentioned on the board there, Pegula and Navarro, All-American showdown. Pegula coming in. Interesting to say the least. Pegula coming in as a top seed, beating Siniakova to get to this point. Navarro's one I can't really figure out as well. I do think that, I mean, there were clear some struggles there, Nigel, but you watch her play recently, especially in this tournament, she looks like she's playing a little better. This is someone that beat Coco Gauff last year, losing to Paolini at Wimbledon in the quarterfinals. So is there value on Navarro at that price?
Well, it's the battle of the billionaires, isn't it?
It is.
The two girls. I don't think they'll be too bothered about the $5,000 paycheck that's going to be played for the winner. I don't think it's going to be a question of motivation for this one. I think it's about who can gain bragging rights in the locker room going into Wimbledon. I watched Navarro play Haddad Meyer at Queen's Club, and she was really bad. I mean, how she won it because Haddad Meyer froze, but she's gradually got better. She got beat by Anisimova in the quarterfinals the next round. She didn't play very well, but then she beat Kostyuk in Berlin, beat Kostyuk again here, and then she played really well against Osaka. And she's got a good grass court game, and she's got a good grass court record. She's 18 wins and only 8 losses on grass, which might not sound a lot, but when you compare that to sort of the Coco Gauffs, you compare that to the Andreevas, that's a really, really good record on grass. So she is a player that comes in here with a lot of belief. Pegula's won grass court events as well. I'm always sort of worry about Pegula. I think she's always going to get to the quarterfinals. Has she got the minerals to go deeper in tournaments, especially outside America? I'm not so sure. Again, this one here looks to me a long one. I'm looking at the total games. I think this is going to be a very long match. If you look at their previous record, I think they've met once before, haven't they? And it was 7-6 in 6-3, 2024 in Miami. Pegula won 7-6, 6-3 in quick conditions. Again, a very, very close first set. And I think the over 9.5 or over 10.5 in set number 1 could be the way to go here. I mean, these two are obviously friends. They're obviously compatriots. They play together. They know each other's game. And I think, again, it could be one of them ones you play out the first set, see how it goes, and be competitive set number 1, and then ease off a little bit set number 2. So I'm going to go for set number 1 overs. Over 9.5 will be my bet. Again, with Bet Rivers. There's about 29 different markets on this match, so I think this will be a decent match for me. Over 9.5, over 10.5 as well. Ladder it up on the Bet Rivers website. You can move across the little toggle. You can move to 11.5, 12.5. You can move to 10.5, 9.5, 8.5. But I think this first set will be very, very competitive.
Interesting chess match because Pegula likes to pin you deep in the court, kind of take your air away. Navarro is a great mover, likes to attack, as you said. Good grass court game, how she plays. So maybe it's a long one.
What do you think about? I mean, this is the most interesting question for betting on these matches.
Yeah.
The motivation for players who have a realistic chance of winning Wimbledon or going semi-finals, final, quarterfinals, Wimbledon. What you know? You do other podcasts where you speak to tennis professionals. What is their motivation coming into this tournament?
I think if you need it, so two things. One, if you need a result, it's something different. Like if you haven't been playing well, if you're like you just described Navarro, like not playing well coming in, she might be on the camp of I need at least, you know, some wins, maybe not to go all the way, but to get a couple matches under your belt to build confidence. The other thing, Nigel, and I have to admit it, the men's versus women's thing, best of 5, best of 3 is a little different. I don't think the guys empty the tank that week before as much as the women do because they have that Herculean task of best of 5 coming up. So that's kind of how I look at it. It's a little different on the men versus the women.
What about my theory that players like this match here, Andreeva Tauson, players like big matchups, when you've got good players like Pegula and Navarro, they go at it for the first set. They just go at it completely for the first set, try to win the first set, and then whoever wins the first set, pretty much she's up because you don't really want to be going in 3 sets. You're going to be exhausted going into women. So then you might contain your energy. So my theory of that, when you've got a decent matchup, like you have here against two top quality players, that the first set over might be the better play than the match over because the match over you could just when you get to the second set, you can tank. They can tank.
You like pull the parachute after set.
Like, is that something you would?
No, I think it's very. That's a good theory. I think set 1 is going to be competitive because you want to see if you're in there, but maybe not necessarily. Maybe it's not necessarily an auto set 2 thing. It's if set 2 starts to get you're down a break in set 2, then it's like I got to break back. I got to win this set. I have to win set 3. That's when I think the doubt flips in. So yeah, no, I
looked at some statistics. There were the 4 tournaments before the majors this year. So the 4 tournaments before the Australian Open and the French Open, there was obviously been 2 each week. There was 6 unseeded players in the final of the 8 finalists. 6 of them were unseeded.
A couple champions in there too. A couple champions.
Madison Keys. Madison Keys was one of the unseeded players who went to the final before the Australian Tour won it. But that is a serious motivation. So when you look at these minus money favourites and you look at these kind of, it has to be in your thought process to think, what do I do? What is the motivation for that particular player? And for me, I think these women, these are good matchups. These could be last 16 and major matchups or next week. They will go at it for set number 1. But they don't want to completely leave a lot of it on court going into Wimbledon next week.
Very fair and very interesting to look. I think that first set over is a number to look at, especially this time of year here. Betting Weekly Tennis Live continues on. Mitch, Michals, Nigel, Seeley on the Bet Rivers Network. Download the app. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Other matches to get to. We do have a couple later today as we poke our head in right now at the live window. And it's on serve right now. Tommy Paul, Dan Evans. Paul's got love 30 though on the Evans serve, so we will monitor that one as well as Andreeva Tauson 2-1 on serve. Andreeva serving down 1-2. So we'll look at those matches as they follow on. Other matches tomorrow in Eastbourne. We've got just the one match on the board here. Griekspoor, Wimbledon champ a year ago, minus 225, playing a little better. Plays Griekspoor at plus 175, and then on the men's side, Billy Harris, Humbert. So it's a little bare for some of the men's matches we mentioned, Nigel. But any thoughts on these? And we got a comment as well. Any official plays we want to lock in, or we've
bet over 21.5 Andreeva Tauson in set number in this match. That was our official play. Andreeva Tauson over 21.5. There was so many flyers all around Tauson again. It's like it must be really hot there. Look, there's actually Tauson's actually playing better than Andreeva, actually. Andreeva doesn't look so great, but a mistake from Andreeva there. A mistake from Tauson there. But that over 21.5 in the match was our only official play. With regards to the other matches, we've just covered them with Betting Weekly Game Bet match with Sean. We looked at the Billy Harris match, and there was not many lines, but we like the overs again. We think that one could go overs. We're waiting for the line to go up with Bet Rivers. Throughout the day, the line will appear. So at this moment in time, the match is tomorrow, but over the next couple of hours, they'll be up there. We quite like the overs. If it's over 22.5, we're quite keen on that. Not an official play, but we spoke about that match in detail on Betting Weekly Game Bet match, which will be dropping a little bit later on this evening.
Should be good, because I do think that some of these players, maybe not the ones that are the bigger names, are in it to win it. They want to revitalize their season, money, ranking points, all that. And I think there's opportunities across the board, as there is Nigel in Mallorca. We've got 2 matches that we know of so far with lines in action. Griekspoor Diallo could be a tricky one. Gabriel Diallo. Man, if this line was written a month ago, what would it have looked like? But Diallo is the favorite.
You're exactly what I said there. I mean, that is this is a. I think personally, if this was me, I would go -110 both, because you've got Diallo, who's probably been the surprising package going into Wimbledon. You know, this is like the Boris Becker effect. This is a kid who's just come from nowhere, who can play, who's got no fear. He's 7-1 going into the tournament.
Different hair color.
Different hair color. But he's got that kind of, like, he's got that kind of exuberance, excitement. He's got a buzz about him, and he is the player but he's played an awful lot of grass court tennis. He's played 8 matches already, won a tournament, his first tournament. He's been on the high, he's been on the low. He's now going into Wimbledon. He's got a realistic chance. And nobody want to play this guy in round 1, round 2. He's just like, he's the worst floater you want to have in your draw. So if you see him on the draw on the live show on Friday, that would be a fave for me straight away, seeing this guy. So he's played 8 matches. So he's pretty much, he's had a lot of tennis. So is he thinking to himself, well, I've got a chance of winning Wimbledon here? Or I've got a chance of going deep and getting my biggest paycheck ever? Or do I have an opportunity to win another 250? It's a difficult one to weigh.
I got a point for you there, because I just had to look at the live rankings. He's at number 40 right now. And I do think that when you're, and it might not be enough, but if you can keep it going, maybe win Mallorca. I don't know what the max is, but there are players that are on the fringe of certain ranking goals that I think it might be a big one to get to. But you're right.
The rankings are done, though. The draw's Friday.
So the
rankings are done the week before. Yeah. So the Wimbledon rankings are done. They'll be announced tomorrow. So unfortunately, whatever happens, he's not going to make the top 32. Yeah,
that's a good.
If it was the week before, then he might make the rankings for Wimbledon are pretty much they're all done. And
I'm not disagreeing with the theory. I just think when you're at a certain point in your career, like super young, I don't think you think about things like, I got to save myself. You just play. You just, so.
But he's got a chance. Yeah. He's got a genuine chance of making $800,000 by making a semi-final. He can win up.
Semi? Wow. Maybe. Yeah.
I think this guy could be the dangerous floater in the whole of Wimbledon. I think he's the one player that could come out of nowhere. He's got a monster of a forehand, a great big serve. He's won a grass court tournament. He's probably the informed grass court player going into it. Nobody will know. If Sinner or Alcaraz run into him, I'm not saying he'll but they wouldn't have done the homework on him. He's a complete unknown. I think he's the one player that not one seed want to play. But on the flip side, on his match tomorrow, he's got Griekspoor, who's obviously a very big server, a player that is very accomplished on grass, but he's only played 1 match. So you've got him thinking, I would like to have a couple of matches, and you've got the other guy thinking, well. So I understand the move for Diallo. There has been a big move in the last 24 hours with Bet Rivers to Diallo to win this match, which I totally get because of his form. But I'm not quite sure whether his motivation is to he's play. Wouldn't it be better for him to just have a good game, go across to England, relax, and just take your time and prepare for Wimbledon?
I think so, and I think Griekspoor, if he's healthy, which it seems like he's back on track, he's won a grass court title. What was that, 2 years ago, I want to say? So he's tough, and he's not going to go away. So maybe middle of set 2, if we're into the third, that's when Diallo starts to get those thoughts in his head.
It's another one over. Set 1 over. Tie break set number 1. Love the tie break set number 1 in this match. I think that's another over. I think these are really good matchups tomorrow for pre-major tournaments. Go at it for the first set.
Do we like the theory that you turned me on to of the Felix first set overs, Medjedovic, just another heavy first set for Felix?
I think when I told you, I think the minute I told you to bet the Felix overs, they all stopped going unders. It was a theory that made us a lot of money a couple of years ago, and ever since I sort of told you about it, Mitch, and other people about it, it hasn't seemed to work. But Medjedovic is a player that goes in it. Got all in. It's all in for him. It's like, winner or unforced error. It could be an interesting first second, but that's how I feel. I just feel the strategy tomorrow on every match, just days before Wimbledon, which is like I'm from Wimbledon. I'm born in Wimbledon. I consider it the biggest tennis tournament in the world. I don't know what stakes I would consider the US Open would consider, but I consider it to be the biggest tennis. I just think you want to. You want to go in there quite fresh. So I expect very competitive first sets is my theory all the way through, and then play the overs and get the money and then move on.
We got Tommy Paul at triple break point against him. He saved 2 of them, so we're still looking at that one. As Evans leads 2-1, has his 3rd break point chance.
Well, we gave the over 28.5 in that one as well. It was a small lean, but that was it was 9.5 set number 3, wasn't it? We said 9 over set 9.5, and that's now minus 175 on the over. Tauson's 3-2 going with serve, and the over now is 22.5. It was 21.5, minus 121 for over 22.5. Big game coming up though. The big game for Taylor Fritz match, isn't it? That's the big one.
Yeah, Fritz minus 240 taking on Joao Fonseca plus 185. First matchup between those two. It's interesting, right, Nigel? Because Fonseca has a lot of hype, and you can see why. And I thought that some of the lines with him, which we see for superstar prodigies, gets a little juiced where they're not maybe the best value. Do you think that's still the case here? Plus 185 against Taylor Fritz on grass, who won the title in Stuttgart but got bounced early by Mute in Queen's Club. Yeah.
Do you know what I would like to hear your theory of this, Mitch, but I'll tell you why. Because like I'm a betting guy. I look at money. I look at bets. I don't look at tennis players in terms of like their ability. And you're more of you're more of a tennis guy with a betting knowledge.
Yeah.
I'm the betting guy. Now, Fonseca, I've seen over the years. I've seen so many people that have
come and gone.
Coming on like Fonseca, that people have said this guy's going to be unbelievable. And when he burst on the scene, I was so impressed. I bet him to win the US Open. Literally, I bet him to win the US Open. I said, this guy's going to win the US. When he beat Rublev in the Australian Open, I thought this guy's going to be. He's going to win. He's going to be that good. But his progress hasn't been anywhere near what I thought it would be. And I'm annoyed with myself that I may have got involved with the hype. I thought this kid was going to be coming into the US Open as a 10-1 shot. But I bet him at 50-1. I think it's going to be 100-1. Is he going to be that good? Have we got over carried away? What do you see in his game that can trouble Fritz tomorrow?
We did get over carried away. This happens. We expect Rome to be built in a day. He had a great win over Rublev, but if you break down the matchup on the tactical side, that favors him a lot with what he can do, which is smack the hell out of the ball, which is attack bad, weaker second serves. I don't necessarily like this matchup for him on grass. This would not be one I would advise betting on Fonseca here a little later, because I think Fritz's serve can keep him at bay if he's on, and I think he can shorten points against him. Fonseca has a lot of weapons, and I'm with you. You see players come up. He is a little different with how he hits the ball and his flair, but he's not there yet to be a true contender in my mind, given what it takes to go deep in these tournaments. I just don't think he has the polished game yet, but I'm not throwing in the towel by any means. I don't like plus 185 against a proven grass court player like Taylor Fritz.
And a player that's won this tournament 3 times, who's got a great record here, an exceptional record. Players coming in great form. I'm not going to give all my tips away here because you've got to get the Betting Weekly Insider, which comes out the weekend. But I've got a sneaky feeling that Taylor Fritz could go quite deep at Wimbledon coming up. But I think he's going to win. But again. And this is not, the kids might not understand this, but the older generation. But I don't want to sound like a broken record. Now, a lot of kids won't even know what a record is. No. But it was something. Do you know what a record is, Mitch? Do you know what
I know what a record is. I thought you were going to go cassette player, but we'll go cassette record player. For this one. Yeah. But
I'm going to sound like a broken record. When a broken record, you used to repeat. But I think over 10.5, set number 1 tonight, Fritz against Fonseca was ready to go.
There it is. How about the spread is 3.5 games, and Fonseca's minus 182 to cover plus 3.5. So he's popular. I mean, that's going to keep happening. Everybody loves this kid coming up.
The problem with the spreads
from
betting the spreads is that when you get players like Fritz and you get Fritz is probably one of the players that I always want to get with whoever he plays on the spread, because he wins a lot of matches in tie breaks. So it wouldn't surprise me to see Taylor Fritz win 7-6, 7-5 or 7-6, 6-4, which means the 3.5 is a big number. A big number for Fonseca. He's one player that I don't think he would. If you look back through Taylor Fritz's career, I'd be surprised how many times he won a set more than by 3 games. So when you get a big handicap on the number on the money line, it sort of converses into a number on the spread. Fritz is someone that doesn't really. It's better to get the dog. Where you get someone like a player like so I'm trying to think of like a Rublev or a Tsitsipas who's the same price on the money line. They tend to win sets 6-2, 6-3, whereas Fritz is always a 6-4, 7-5, 7-6 kind of guy. So you always want to get with the opponent plus the big handicaps.
He's plus 4,000 to win Wimbledon on Bet Rivers, so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where it goes.
I bet him the year he won Wimbledon and he played Nadal in that quarterfinal, and Nadal got injured and then he pulled out in the semi. He should have won that game.
He would have beat Kyrgios too. I think he would have beat
absolutely. Yeah. It was 100-1 that year, and we bet him, and myself and Sean Calvert bet him as well. And we had we stood to win a nice few quid on it, nice few amount of money, and I've never ever been happy with Fritz since then.
Well, before we wind this show down, Betting Weekly Tennis Live, talking about Wimbledon, I wanted to know if you had thoughts, Nigel, on the futures market. We're a couple days before the draw. Big 5 a.m. Eastern time live draw show on Bet Rivers. It's going to be a live draw show as it breaks down. We're going to be reacting to everything. Make sure you watch that 5 a.m. Eastern Friday. But we've seen a little bit of movement. We've seen the women are a little more unpredictable, obviously. The men have tightened up a little bit. But thoughts on where the future market stands before the draws come out?
I don't want to give too many things away, Mitch, because we've got this fantastic insider coming out on Friday, and you've given your picks, I've given my picks, all the handicap and Tina given their picks, and I want people to subscribe to the channel, and I want people to subscribe.
We can tease a little, just like light teaser.
I want to fade the top 4 in the women's draw. We've had 8 different women who've won this title in the last 8 years. It's a tournament where anybody can beat anybody. And I think we can have a shock. I'm much more excited about the women's draw than the men's draw. The men's draw, the top 2 are so far against everybody else. And it wouldn't be surprising, not a surprise at all, to see Sinner Alcaraz in the final. But the women's draw, I think, could be anything.
So the last, 3 years? The last 3 years, it was Krejcikova, Vondrousova, and Rybakina before she became what Rybakina is. So what were we talking, like 3 straight, like 30, 40, 50 to 1, like insane?
I think the year Rebecca won it, she was 25 to 1. Okay. And the others were like hundreds, like 6,600, big prices.
Crazy.
And you look at it is a tournament that anybody can beat anybody, and I'm looking forward to that. And it's all to be revealed in the Insider.
It is. Yeah, got to be watching it. Got to be seeing our picks, our plays. Also, want to promote this on Bet Rivers, the bettingweeklystudios.com. The newsletter drops on Mondays, so it's going to be coming in on Friday. Nigel, you know how special this is. This is another must-have for all your betting fans out there that want to stay in the game and maybe a leg up on the other people they're competing against.
Yeah, this is good. This is good stuff. It's all free. All this stuff is free. So, you're going to get a guide through. You're going to get picks from everybody. You're looking at the players to be with, the players to fade. The journey starts on Friday. Live show Friday, looking at the bracket. Moving on to this, the newsletter that comes out Friday evening, then all the way through the week. Betting Weekly Live, Monday through to Wednesday. We have Monday through to Friday, Betting Week Live. Betting Weekly Tennis Live, Monday through to Wednesday. We have Game Bet Match all the way through. Betting Weekly WTA. There is no sports book across the world they'll give you more tennis coverage for Wimbledon than we are doing, or any tennis tournament. And this is a must subscribe, and this channel is a must subscribe as well.
We know these shows we're going to be live 1 o'clock Eastern, as we always are, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm expecting every major. There's always some unpredictable matches going on when we're doing this show, where you just drop what you're doing and just monitor the live action. So that's what I can't wait for.
Let me, Mitch, do one thing. I am from London. I'm born in Wimbledon. I grew up in Wimbledon. Next week, we'll be sitting there talking about a rain delay for sure.
Yeah, well, at least there's a roof on main court on center.
There's a
court
roof.
now. That's good. It's
It'd
not
be
gonna
like
be...
minus 1,000 shot, Yannick Sinner
Yeah.
against someone. We'll be trying to go to bed. But let's hope there's no rain. But we'll see what happens. But Wimbledon will always rain.
I'm praying for it. And out the door, Evans consolidates 4-1 up on Tommy Paul in set 3. Mirra Andreeva down a break early, 5-2 to Clara Tauson. So some final parting thoughts on that, Nigel, is some favorites and some trouble early.
Good thing for overs. If you ever bet the overs and the fact that the dog goes a set up, it's all a good thing for overs. We're over 21.5, so we're still in good shape. Don't worry about it.
I can't wait for it. This is going to be a blast. Nigel Seeley, always a pleasure. Thank you for all that you do here for all of us here at Betting Weekly Tennis Live and on the Because We Win social channels as well, carrying us forward on Bet Rivers. So this should be a blast going forward. I can't wait for Wimbledon. I'm all excited now and amped up. I want it to be tomorrow, but I got to wait like 5 days.
It's like Christmas. A few days. We'll be there. Friday, live draw, 5 a.m. Eastern. Join us.
Can't wait for it. For Nigel Seeley, I'm Mitch Michals. This was Betting Weekly Tennis Live. Back again. The show Betting Weekly Tennis Live, 1 o'clock Eastern, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week during Wimbledon, 5 a.m. Eastern time, live insider show for the Wimbledon draw. It's going to be a blast. So again, for Nigel Seeley, I'm Mitch Michals. This was Betting Weekly Tennis Live. We'll talk to you later. Enjoy the tennis, everyone.